Could it be? With me, your man, Louis T. Welcome to Wildcard Weekend Overtime. Saints at home hosting the Minnesota Vikings in a game that I thought was going to be a blowout. I was absolutely wrong. The Vikings used the motivation that everyone gave them. You heard Mike Zimmer talk about it before the game started, during halftime with the reporter. They felt disrespected. I was one of many that disrespected them coming into the game. When I broke down all the games heading into Wild Card Weekend, I said if there was one game that could get out of control, it'd be this one. And it's amazing that I've seen this movie before. We had a little bit of technical difficulty, so I'm going to try to make this as quick as possible. And we're up against the next game starting, so I don't want to keep you here any longer than I need to. So I cut right to the chase. On the Vikings end, this was a beautiful performance. For the second time in a row playing the Saints in the playoffs, they blew a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter, but they were able to hold on. And the masterful play of Kirk mother effing Cousins, who got it done. And let me say this for those of you in the back who have trouble hearing and seeing, because they showed a graphic as Kirk Cousins jogged onto the field in overtime to start overtime. 13 game-winning drives in his career. Let me say that again for those of you in the back that have trouble hearing. 13 game-winning drives in regulation, fourth quarter, or overtime. And now make it 14 after that beautiful drive, taking them down the field. The throw to Thielen, that's the thing of beauty. Feathery, soft touch, dropped it out of the sky. And then on third down, I told my girl, I said, babe, they got to throw this in the end zone. They're not going to run it in from the 2-yard line. And 2 plays later, they had to throw it on third down. And that was like stealing. All right, P.J. Williams is super trash. That ball was in the air for at least 10 minutes. I think they took 2 timeout breaks, came back, the ball still hadn't landed, and he never once thought, damn, let me find the football. Let me just face guard the whole goddamn time and let Kyle Rudolph put his nutsack on my helmet and take the football from me. Never looked. So he deserved to have that football dropped out of the sky right to Kyle Rudolph for the game winner. Couldn't be happier for Kirk Cousins. For all you Redskins fans out there that thought he never did anything and he could never win the big game and he's 0-9 on Monday Night Football, to hell with all that. I've seen Kirk win big games before. I'm not surprised that he was able to do this. I'm surprised that the Vikings as an entire team. I wasn't worried about the Vikings offense, to be frank with you. I was worried about their defense. I didn't think their defense had been very good this season. I know a lot of people talk about this Vikings defense and how good it is. This is not a Mike Zimmer typical defensive season for me, at least. Watching this team, they've had really good games. Like the one when they've played garbage teams, they've done what they were supposed to do. Like the blowout against the Chargers, when they dismantled them, that's what they've done to bad teams this year, is they've beat them up. The Redskins, they only gave up 9 points in that game. They've done that to the bad teams. But when they play teams that have been offensively explosive and dynamic, they've gotten points hung on their skulls this season. So I expected them to struggle defensively. And early on in this game, I could tell they came to play. And I give credit to Zimmer for a number of things. One, using the whole narrative of no one's giving us a chance. Well, no one was. Use that to your advantage. Tell your guys in the locker room. Show them the newspaper articles. Show them the clips of everybody picking the Saints, not only to beat you, but go to the Super Bowl and overlooking you as if you're not even in the playoffs. I told you, once you get a ticket to the dance and they shut those doors, everything's on the line and nobody's safe. And so they just wanted a ticket to the dance. They got in, they got their ticket, and now look, they're dancing to San Francisco. They'll be in Santa Clara next week on Saturday afternoon. So big ups to the Vikings for that. Another thing Zimmer did well in this game is he moved his defensive ends inside. And I know, let me first say this. We'll talk about Danielle Hunter, big play in the game, probably the biggest play in the game, that forced fumble of Drew Brees. And we'll talk about Everson Griffin. He was all over the field. He was a madman. He was a man possessed. And what they did, moving them inside to defensive tackle on obvious passing situations, threw the Saints for a loop. Sean Payton and his offensive staff weren't ready for that. And he even said it at halftime. We've got to make the adjustment. They are killing us on the interior rush on third downs. But you got to give credit to the big boys inside too. Shamar Stephen, Linval Joseph, they're unsung heroes. You're not going to hear their name, but their ability to shut down Alvin Kamara in this run game. And throw in Latavius Murray as well. The run, when Taysom Hill is your leading rusher, you're doing something right. Okay, they stopped the run and they put all the onus on Drew Brees in the passing game to execute on third downs, and they weren't able to because they got pressure on him early. Did the Minnesota Vikings. And that pressure early set the tone for the entire game. I thought this was a dominant performance defensively by the Minnesota Vikings, especially after the sudden change of possession early in the game, put them behind the 8 ball, and they forced a field goal attempt. That was big by this Minnesota Vikings defense. And to me, they were the real winners of this football game. They were the real heroes. They were the ones that kept this game where it was. And yeah, they gave up 10 straight in the fourth quarter to allow this game to go to overtime. But also, you can blame the Vikings offense for not getting it done and keeping the football away. But that's nor here nor there. When the game was in the balance, the defense did what they needed to do, and the offense did what they had to do in overtime to not give the football back to Drew Brees and company. Because I said, and my girl was like, babe, if this game goes to overtime, the Saints are going to win. I said, you're right. And they blew a 10-point lead, and it went to overtime, and I'm thinking the Saints are going to win this football game now. The Vikings had their chance. They blew it, and now the Saints are going to win this game. And they won the toss. They took the football, and Kirk mother effing Cousins. All right, Kirk with a K, not Kurt. Get it right. Put some respect on that man's name. That throw to Adam Thielen, drugstore cotton soft, feathery soft. He breastfed that man. Couldn't have walked up and handed it to him any cleaner, partner. And then the throw to Kyle Rudolph for the game winner. Oh, man. Dropped that thing right out of the sky. And P.J. Williams, super trash. He is absolutely garbage. That ball was in the air. I swear, they took an entire 2-minute warning break. That football was in the air, came back from the 2-minute warning break. That shit was still coming down. He never once thought to himself, man, I should turn around and look for the football. Maybe it's actually coming. He just face guarded the whole damn time and got his ass mossed on. Nutsack fragment all on his helmet. He's so trash. But anyway, let's get to the Saints. Big win for the Vikings. I couldn't be more proud of Kirk Cousins and this Vikings football team. And I couldn't be more shocked because I didn't think they were going to be able to do this. But let's get to the Saints quickly. I'm so disappointed in Sean Payton's clock management at the end of this game. I wanted them to lose after he mangled the clock. And Sean Payton is usually one of the few head coaches in this league that gets the clock right. He absolutely mangled the clock at the end. The fact that they left regulation with a timeout in their back pocket is a damn travesty. They deserve to lose the game, and I'm glad the football gods went there and punished their ass. The penalty for that kind of negligence with the clock at the end of the game is a loss. They deserve to lose this goddamn game. But you know what? Before we get to that, because I got a lot to say on that matter, let's start at the beginning. I looked over at my girl. I said, babe, the Saints are going to lose this game after the third possession of the game. The first possession was a field goal that they should have scored a touchdown on. Okay, that happens. Good job by the Vikings defense putting up a stand. The next possession, they got after Drew Brees' ass. They sacked him once. They pressured him again. They got off the field on either 3 and out or 1 first down and then a 3 and out after that. Then the next possession, it was just 3 and out. And they sacked Brees and they got after him and Brees had to throw it away before he got sacked. And I looked at him, I said, babe, I know I've seen this before. You know how you've seen a movie before or you've seen somebody before, you can't think of their name, but you can't really remember where you've seen them before, but you've seen that person before. You're like, I know I've seen that person before. Where do I know them from? Or you see somebody in a movie and you're like, man, he was in another movie or she was in another movie. What movie was that? I saw it. Come on. All right, so we have a technical difficulty, so I'll make this short and sweet. They couldn't protect Drew Brees up front. They had issues along the offensive line. I knew they were going to lose this game from the third possession on, but they made a very valiant comeback. Credit the defense. After getting run all over in the first half, they made a halftime adjustment. Dalvin Cook, 82 yards at halftime. He only had 98 after the second half and overtime. So credit to that Saints defense for stepping up and giving this offense that struggled all day long a chance to win this football game in the waning moments. The fact that the Saints had the football with a chance to win at the end of regulation is really hats off to this defense, because honestly speaking, this offense didn't do anything this game, and the defense gave them opportunity after opportunity to win this game, and they just didn't get it done. And so once again, it falls to me on the shoulders of this offense in New Orleans. The defense stepped up. They did what they needed to do. I thought that the clock mangling at the end of this game was just It was tragic, and they deserve to lose this game. You cannot go into overtime with a timeout in your back pocket. After that catch by Jared Cook where he carried 4 defenders and he was tackled with 33 seconds on the clock. I'm screaming, timeout, timeout, timeout. Instead, they want to get cute, run up to the line. They wasted 12 seconds trying to get up and spike it, and then they weren't set. All you had to do was call your timeout. All you had to do. You had 33, so you had plenty of time to still score a touchdown if that's what you wanted to do. The Vikings defense in that moment was so horrendous. They were giving you, it's almost like they conceded overtime, that frustrated me. Don't give these bastards overtime. Stop giving up these 15 and 17-yard completions at a time. It's like they said, look, we're fine with overtime, just don't beat us in regulation. That was garbage. They were going to give you more easy completions. So you didn't need to worry about not having a timeout. They were going to give you the sidelines. They didn't want to give up the touchdown. So they're going to give you another 15, 18-yard completion out of bounds. You'd have been at the 22-yard line with 29 seconds, 25 seconds, 22 seconds left. And you would have had plenty of time to take shots at the end zone. Instead, you mangled the clock. You deserved. And look, luckily enough for you, your damn kicker made the 49. That's a long field goal. He shouldn't have been kicking from 49 yards. But because you mismanaged the clock, he had to kick a 49-yard field goal. Now, I knew he was going to miss the field goal before halftime. Will Lutz, because they always put the kibosh on these guys. Will Lutz hasn't missed in 18 consecutive field goal attempts. He has been excellent for the Saints this. Oh, he's going to miss today. Football game, 26-20. They're dead. We'll talk about this more a little bit later on. But let's get to the other game. I know it's already in progress. We'll come back and break this thing down. Big ups to the Saints or the Vikings. They're now off to Santa Clara to take on the San Francisco 49ers. This is an epic loss for the Saints. You know what they remind me of? They feel like the Houston Rockets in the NBA. Good thing that Drew Brees already has his Super Bowl championship because they're never going to win. They're not going to win because they don't know how to win. They know how to get to the playoffs. They know how to play really good and look cute in the regular season. They get to the playoffs and their butthole gets really tight. They get really tight and they start mangling the clock and Drew Brees starts throwing dumb interceptions and fumbling the damn football and being loosey-goosey, and all of a sudden they get tight on offense. I'll tell you who wasn't tight today. Taysom Hill. He's a beast. All right? Taysom Hill is a man beast. All right? Everybody else, and Michael Thomas too. God damn, he's good. Damn, he's good. That boy's good. But outside of that, they looked like a team that played scared on offense. They called the game scared. Drew Brees played the game scared. They deserve to lose this football game. And oh, by the way, Sean Payton called this game scared. But Taysom Hill, never scared. Michael Thomas, never scared. And Jared Cook, he was pretty damn good too today as well. But that's enough for me. You guys enjoy the second half of what's been a fantastic wildcard weekend. The first 3 games have lived up to the billing. Let's hope that this final game does the same. We'll come down, we'll break that one down, and we'll probably talk about this one some more. I want to talk about this game more, but we don't have the time, and my connection hasn't been the best. So I'll see you guys at the end of this Seahawks-Eagles game. If I lose this one, it will be one of the worst wildcard weekends I've ever had. Right now, I am, did I win the first game? I am 0-3 right now, okay? I haven't won a single game. It's already the worst wildcard weekend I've had from a statistics standpoint. I could go 0-for. I've never done that in wildcard weekend, but hey, man, Eagles got a chance to prove everybody wrong. I didn't give them a shot in this game. I think they're capable because Seattle's banged up, and the last time these two teams met, it wasn't a blowout. It was 17-9, so they've got a shot, but man, they don't have enough weaponry, I don't think, to get it done. We'll see, though. I didn't think the Vikings had enough to get it done, and they did, so we will see. I'm your man, Louis T, signing off. Remember, if it's not your man T, it's not the best NFL coverage it could be. Come back and join me. Like this video. Subscribe to the Louis T Network if you haven't already done so. And oh, by the way, Kirk mother effing Cousins. Put some respect on that man's name. Vikings advance to the divisional round where they'll take on the #1 seeded San Francisco 49ers. Should be a hell of a football game because they can run it. So can the 49ers. And their offenses look eerily similar to one another. Should be one hell of a football game. And Kirk Cousins going up against his ex-offensive coordinator and Kyle Shanahan should be plenty of fun. Bart Scott, can't wait. It's another failed season for the New Orleans Saints. Add it to the list. They do this every single year. Every year they do this. So I'm not surprised, but thought they would actually, I thought this felt like the year they were going to go to the Super Bowl. I guess I was wrong. I'll see you guys at the end of Eagles and Seahawks. See you then. Have a good one.
Louis T Network.